If the right opportunity came across the table, I would sign today. So I'm a football player. I love playing ball. I'm training just as hard as anyone's training in this league. Trust me, if you ask anybody that knows me and any of my peers, they know how hard I work, how much I study the game at multiple positions. So I'm definitely in shape and ready to play.
Less than 3 weeks after that interview on Good Morning Football, our next guest signed with the New York Giants. Yeah. He has since signed a 3-year contract extension. Please welcome two-time Super Bowl champion, friend of the show, safety, Logan Ryan.
Hey. What up? What's going on, guys?
So 1 year ago, Logan, you were a free agent, and you said, you heard it right there on Good Morning Football, if the right opportunity came, I'd sign today. You've signed that multi-year deal through 2023. What's made the Giants the right opportunity and the place for you?
Yeah, the Giants are the great opportunity, perfect opportunity for me because, honestly, it comes down from the top, from the organization itself. And Joe Judge, I mean, we just had honest conversation, candid conversation, and he gave me opportunity to come in and be myself. I believe he believed in me, and he gave me an opportunity to lead. I think the guy said I was here 1 week, and I started breaking the team down in team speeches before the games and practices and stuff like that. So he allowed me to put my imprint on this young team and really allowed me to shine and show my work ethic. And I just try to come in with that first one in, first one out mentality and really try to earn my stripes on this team. And, it all worked out on both sides. I'm really grateful for those times last year, vying for a job, telling people what I can do. But all I really needed was the respect from one coach and that honesty. And I'll run through a wall for that man.
No doubt about it. Sounds like a lot of players that play for the Giants. Now, this offseason, the Giants continue to improve their secondary and signed your former Titans teammate, Adoree Jackson. What are your expectations for the Giants DBs this season, and what does it mean to be reunited with your former teammate?
Yeah, I mean, look, I'm not going to be up here to make, bold statements and predictions and stuff like that. I'm not in that business. That's your guys' business. But I'll be lying to say I'll give you this. We got a confident group. We got a talented group, obviously. That's why we're talking about this secondary. We're obviously talented on paper. And we got a lot of guys who are comfortable being a guy. We got a lot of guys who are comfortable with the top matchups, who are comfortable taking on that role when need be. But honestly, to have expectations for the season, how it comes, is going to come down to, doing it together, getting those reps in practice. Football is a sacrificial sport. I say it all the time. It's a team sport. So we really got to sacrifice one another, get our bond, get our flow, that moving that ball around together, and go out there and come together. So we'll see. But I mean, we're not going to lack confidence, and we're not afraid to match up with anybody. I don't think so.
I love that, Logan. It's a team sport, but I don't get questions about your defense. I don't get questions about your wide receivers even. No, I go to Whole Foods or I walk down the street on Church or Greenwich, and I get questions about Daniel Jones. People stop me. They stop Kyle. They stop Nate. They stop Tom Pelissero. So it truly is, if we're being honest, a make-or-break season for your young quarterback. You are a two-time Super Bowl champion. You are clearly a leader on that team, albeit that you're on the defensive side of the ball. You're well-respected in that locker room. You're earning your stripes. Just give me the advice that you would give or have given or will give to Daniel Jones. Not even just like specific, just how to approach the NFL, how to approach this season.
I get that question a lot too. So I feel you on that. But the thing with it, man, it's a year-to-year league, and Daniel is doing everything he can ask him to do from last season to now. You heard about him flying out the receivers time and time again, bringing those guys, paying for those guys to come out to throw. He was at OTAs, commanding the offense. I mean, he's another year in it. So really, he's doing everything I can do to earn my respect as a two-time champion, as a 9-year pro, as a guy who's been around a lot of great players. He's doing everything I can as an older player to earn my respect with his work ethic day in and day out. You hear him in the weight room. You hear him having the throwing sessions. You hear him meeting with the coaches when it's time to meet. So he's doing everything he can possibly do to set himself up for success. And that's all you can do, man. You gotta fall down to your level of preparation. And I feel like he's extremely prepared. And training camps is another scenario, another situation to get more prepared. It's practice. So you got to continue to get those reps. And you go out there and let your chips fall when they may, when it's game day, and go out there and go win the game. So we're all supporting Daniel He's got his teammates' success. He got his teammates' respect, and he's got the organization's respect, and he's earned that job to be our quarterback.
Logan, last season you experienced a personal moment much bigger than football. It was after a Monday night game. Your wife, Ashley, wasn't feeling well, and you reached out to the Giants trainers. Tell us what happened next.
Yeah, I mean, that's when I realized that for 29 years of my life, I would sacrifice a lot of things for football. Football is, I mean, this is what I know now. I'm known as a football player. It's what I'm good at since I was a kid. But I wouldn't sacrifice my wife for football. Not one. I would walk away tomorrow if my wife needed me to. So we played the Bucs on Monday night. I stayed after with the trainer, was getting extra treatment, preparing my body for the short week coming up. My wife told me she wasn't feeling well. She was in Florida and she had some stomach aches. I called the trainer. He said, I would suggest that she goes to, an ER and a hospital to get it checked out. She went, she got it checked out, and it was a whirlwind of emotions. But essentially, my wife went through an ectopic pregnancy where they said she was pregnant. We celebrated us being pregnant. And then soon after, it took a turn where the baby was in the wrong place and she needed emergency surgery because the egg was in the fallopian tube. So basically, to perform that, her fallopian tube actually burst, and it became a critical condition. We ended up losing the baby. I ended up saving my wife's life on a span of a long night. I didn't sleep much, and I didn't think I was going to play football for the rest of the season, or I thought my career could have been over that day because I was comfortable with what I put in. I'm comfortable walking away from the game today if my family needs me. So it was a lot of thought, obviously, and it all went to my family first. I spoke to Joe, and Joe really supported me and told me to take the time I needed. And Joe and my wife agreed that I should keep playing, and I played in honor of her, got that extension in honor of her and my family. My wife's extremely supportive, and I support any woman who's going through a miscarriage or an ectopic pregnancy because you don't get time to grieve. You're usually right back to work. You don't feel comfortable talking about it. You might take a lot of blame and put on your shoulders, but there's nothing that you possibly could have done. So I really support women, and I really support my wife through that. And that's much, much bigger than football, much bigger. Football is just fun to me now, and it's what I like to do. But my wife and my kids are really my life.
It's really well said. And the ectopic pregnancies go on. They're devastating. They're terrifying. Logan, there's a whole bookend to this whole story that you just told on and off the field. A week after this happened, you are back on the field. You end up having a game-sealing interception against Washington. What was the emotion like at the end of that experience? You've done it all in this career in your life. What was this time like for you?
I mean, that time right there was truly out-of-body experience. People ask me the whole time how you're compartmentalizing this, dealing with your family. Meanwhile, I have 2 kids, a 5-year-old daughter and a 3-year-old son. So I was having to watch my kids, or have my mom actually take off from work to watch my kids when my wife was in the hospital healing in a different state. So I wasn't making meetings. I would practice and go home, drive an hour and a half to go see my kids, put them to bed, drive back. And I remember talking to my wife about playing that game. What do you think? And she said, go bring home a ball for me and our unborn son, Ozzy is what we would have named him. So I ended up the first play of the game. I actually forced a fumble, the very first play of that game. I forced a fumble. We got that. And then the last play of the game, I had an interception. So I felt like I got 2 balls. I brought 2 footballs home for my wife and my son. And I don't know. I wasn't playing for me, man. I really just was playing for my wife. And I just stayed focused, stayed motivated. But there's no such thing as compartmentalizing loss and stuff. I just had to deal with it. I literally had to feel everything. I was sad during the game. I probably was crying during the game. I probably was happy during the game. But I really I wanted to do well for her. I wanted to do well and give her hope from that hospital. I wanted to give her a reason to keep fighting.
Powerful stuff, man, and divine intervention as well. Now, your father is a longtime police officer, and you joined him in forming an organization called Ryan Alternative Solutions Training. Tell us more about its mission and why you decided to join your father in such an important cause.
Yeah, I'm really excited to announce this. We obviously know where we are in the nation, where we are in country, it's a lot of divide. And obviously athletes have feel like they have the biggest social justice calling of any time. We have the mics in front of us. We have great platforms. And I always want to use my platform. Obviously, we haven't talked about too much football. We talked about a lot of other stuff today. But my dad is my hero. He's a black man in this country. He's 25 years a cop in Camden, New Jersey. He started off as a cop. He worked his way up to the prosecutor's office. He worked homicides, undercover detective. He worked in the FBI, the SWAT team, and he's also has multiple black belts in martial arts. So I feel like he's extremely qualified when we talk about police reform. And I feel like who's better to learn from than a former police officer, a retired police officer, 25 years, he's a good apple. I believe in the police. I don't believe in defunding the police. I believe we need the police. I believe our police needs better training to be better equipped to handle some of the situations they deal with. And who would you rather learn from? Somebody who served 25 years. He actually had empathy for the people he was arresting. He's from Camden, New Jersey. A lot of homicides in Camden, New Jersey. We know that. He also policed in Camden, New Jersey. He had to earn the respect of the people that he was working with. And really everything in this company, RAST, the Ryan Alternative Solutions Training, is based on yin and yang. It's black and white. It's bringing harmony back to harmony and humanity back to people. And we honestly are preaching and teaching a curriculum that focuses on de-escalation first, using your words to de-escalate the situation, and minimum force techniques. If it does get to that point, the first line of defense is minimum force. So people like my dad can come home to his wife and kids being a cop for 25 years, and those people who are being arrested or not can go home to their wife and kids. So I believe that there is a silver lining here. And I was involved in the George Floyd lobbying. I was involved in that. I used my platform from that, but I really want to put some skin in the game and take it to the next step. So I started a company with my dad because I feel like he has great insight of being a former police officer, that there are good apples out there. There are a lot of good apples. And just like an NFL player, if someone gets arrested, we're all deemed bad apples. All these NFL guys are spoiled. They're entitled. They don't care about women. They don't care about life. Well, there's a lot of good guys that are doing good things behind the scenes, just like my dad, as a retired cop, had a stellar career. And I believe in him, and I believe he has some insight that can help what's going on with police reform. So empathy, harmony, de-escalation, minimum force techniques is what my company is teaching. And I really want to get involved as an athlete to get involved in police reform.
Logan, that's an awesome initiative. We appreciate your efforts there. We appreciate you being so open about your family. And we got to get you in studio sometime soon. Now that we're back together, you got to be together with us.
No doubt.
We do. Hey, Tom, my sources told me something. Let me know if this is true.
No.
My sources told me you had a golf game with. Sources say you had a golf game with Ian Rappaport the other day. Can you tell me how that went down?
Yeah, Ian's got some real old man game, plays this long draw, doesn't hit it very far, but he is a killer around the greens in terms of chipping, putting. He took me by about 5 strokes. So I want to be back too. When you come in here, I'll come back. We'll all get out there with Ian on the golf course and you can see it for yourself.
My sources, Logan says.
You always got to confirm your sources before you report it, you know?
That's right, baby.